Guys, what we're going to look at? We're going to look at the Kizer Sliver. We looked at the first impressions of this a while back, and we're just circling back around to see it. I did like this knife, only had a couple issues with it. One of the things that Jerad sent me that I really did like, but we're going to talk about it from above. So you guys know what time it is. We're not going to pontificate about it here. Turn down the volume, because here comes a little bit of music. All right, guys, like I said in the intro, we are looking at the Kizer Sliver. Now, when I did the unboxing and first impressions and everything, I called it the Silver. But it is the Sliver. This is a Kizer knife. Now, I'm not going to read off a bunch of specs. We are going to simply put over here on the side, right there, you're going to see a spec sheet for a couple seconds. So this came to me from Jerad. This is a nice Kizer. It is kind of unique. I'm going to tell you, I'm torn on how I feel about this. While this is an incredible cutter, I'm a little bit torn. But let's go ahead and take a quick look at it. So you've got a really decently shaped hollow ground S35 VN blade. It came to me really sharp from Jerad. I think it still had the factory edge, as you can see. It probably needs a touch up. I did a lot of cutting with this. In case you guys were wondering, I was doing some buffing. I have a buffing wheel. I was buffing some stuff, just doing a test, and I buffed my fingernails. But this came, but it comes in a unique format. So it's kind of a skinny knife. It is really comfortable to cut with to a point. Some of the issues that I found with it was this jimping is relatively sharp. And then it's got a harpoon area back here and this pocket clip, which if you get it in the wrong spot, that pocket clip can be a little pinchy. I didn't really have any problems with the pocket clip per se. I definitely have had knives that were much more difficult to cut with. It cut great as long as you weren't doing any heavy duty cutting. And I'll tell you what, this jimping on the spine here, it was pretty aggressive. For a skinny knife, once you've got to have a pretty good grip on it. You're putting a lot of force onto that jimping. It's pretty aggressive. Now, even with my relatively tough hands from having worked my entire life and doing a lot of work that would cause calluses, it still was a little uncomfortable. I'm not gonna say it was too hot spotty, but when I'm talking about cutting it, some really heavy duty cardboard, like I had cut up a bunch of Amazon packaging and stuff, and I had zero problems with it. It was really comfortable to cut with. It's got a nice angle to it that addresses the cut well. I like knives that have a tendency to have either a complete radius to them or are candid down a little bit, because it just feels to me like that's how I want to cut. I've had a bunch of knives that came that were kind of swept back, where it just almost felt like the knife was, oops. Sorry about that, guys. What I was saying is it felt like it was almost opposite of this, where the spine of the blade swung up as opposed to swinging down. I don't really like that per se. Sometimes you can get one that you get used to. This is just about the right angle. I would like it. The radius on it's really good. It's comfortable in hand. And like I said, it cut really, really well for such a narrow knife. Typically you want a broader blade that comes down and transitions down to a thinner edge, but they did a pretty good job on this with a hollow. It's almost like a Tonto. It's almost slightly recurved. So those two things together, you're getting a lot of pressure on your cut. But I will say, I don't think this is a heavy duty carry. I don't think it's something that's going to be a heavy duty use knife. It's done in S35 VN and this beautiful micarta. I love this micarta. Some people don't like this color. I like this kind of a red or burgundy micarta. It comes out really well when it's ground, and it's easy to keep it consistent. You can see that you've got pretty much the same pattern from side to side. I like symmetry. That's why I'm a fan of a two-piece construction and double-sided hardware. It's just a personal preference. If you like a lanyard hole, it does have a lanyard hole. This whole thing is pretty light. We're gonna get the scale out and the calipers. It's the only specs we're gonna look at is the weight and the blade stock thickness and thickness behind the edge. So like I was saying, it really looks nice. it doesn't have any real bells and whistles, but it's got a nice look to it, and it is super small in hand, like it, and in pocket. It's not a pocket hog. So let's grab those scales and the calipers, and we'll take a look at it, and then I'll tell you how I use this and what I think that this knife would be good for. All right, grab my calipers. We did a quick measurement. As you can see, 0.20 on this. Can I get it into focus, please? 0.20 and 0.20 on this. So my calipers are 0. Let's get the blade stock thickness and the behind the edge thickness. So blade stock thickness on this, 0.112 or 0.12. Behind the edge thickness, this is what I'm curious about, because like I said, it did cut really well. So right behind the edge, 0.0265 on that, and then up at the tip, I'm curious about it up at the very tip. They carried it through pretty consistent, 0.0265. So a lot of times knives will thicken up at the very tip. Let's get that out of the way. So let's go ahead and grab the scale and fly the scale in and take a look at the weight. All right, let's get the weight on this. So for you guys that use, let's see what comes up first. So in freedom units, you're looking at 2.5 ounces. That's what I was getting ready to say. This is an incredibly light knife. And in grams, that's going to come in at 75 grams. It's one of the lighter knives I've reviewed in a while. Let's get the scale out of the way. So let's talk about this. This is a knife that I would not carry as a heavy use knife. This would be a knife that I would 100% have like a day-to-day light duty use. Okay, so I'm no longer in the military. I'm no longer associated with law enforcement. I no longer do any of those things. This would be a knife that I could carry around a house for day-to-day tasks. If I was going camping, I don't think this would be in my pack. It's just not the knife for that. For something like that, I would want something that I can get a better grip on. It's a little bit heftier, meatier, gives me a better grip for some heavier cutting. But if you're in an office scenario, this is a nice knife for something like that. If you have to open a lot of packages at work, it fits really well in the hand because it's got that nice radius, so you can cut packages and stuff like that. I didn't do any kitchen tasks or anything with this, so I can't attest to how it would perform in the kitchen. But overall, a really good knife. It's one of those plain Jane folders that just, it's not so much that it's plain Jane, it just hits all the little things that you would want out of a knife with no frills. And I kind of dig that sometimes. Sometimes it's nice just to have something that is what it is. And it's got a unique shape to it. It's got this harpoon-esque handle. It's got, I always forget to turn that off. It's got the completely hidden liners, which gives it a nice touch. You can't see it anywhere except just at the lock interface. The hardware is nice and relatively polished. So that's a unique pocket clip, but I'm gonna tell you right now, like I said, it really doesn't, unless you're doing like something like really heavy cutting, the pocket clip doesn't really get in the way. And it's got a unique shape to it. It gives it kind of a pop. It's got a little flash to it. So there you go, guys. The Kizer Sliver in S35BN. It's a nice little knife. I dig it. So let's turn this around and do some final thoughts. So there you go, guys, the Kizer Sliver. It's a nice little knife. It's not something I would carry for heavy duty use, but it does have its purposes, and it would work really well like a weekend carry, pair of shorts, something where you're just doing some light duty cutting. I would not carry it as like a heavy duty cutter, but in an office setting, I think it would work really good. So, you know, I talked about all that down there, just a little recap. Guys, that's it on this one. If you like the videos, give them a thumbs up. If you don't like them, give them a thumbs down, but please try to tell me why. I put a lot of work into it. It's almost midnight here. And I'm still doing filming and editing because I love you guys and I want to get this stuff up for you. So if you want to support the channel, it's as simple as like, share, subscribe, drop a comment. It's the best way you can support a channel. Hit that bell icon, make sure you get notifications to everything, and turn notifications on your device or you won't get them. But if you do want to support the channel other ways, I have some financial ways you can do it. Down below, I have a membership. I've got currently, I think, 54 paying members. They get a broad range of different benefits based on tier, but everyone gets access to the Gilded server where we all chat. Everyone gets $5 off my sharpening service, but the premium tier guys get access to a full tutorial series that I've been building over the last couple of years where I walk step by step through sharpening. Other ways you can do it, I have affiliate links down below for a lot of the stuff you see on the channel, tools, stones, knives, things like that. Down below in the description. Anything you purchase through the affiliate links doesn't cost you anything extra at checkout. They pay me a little bit at checkout for bringing you those items. And the final way is I have a merchandise store on Ember Shirt Co. I have a coupon code I set up that works anywhere on Ember Shirt Co. And that coupon code is CrazySharp, all one word, capital C, capital S, CrazySharp. Saves you 10% at checkout. And if you send me pictures of you wearing my merchandise, I will put them in a video. Guys, I love y'all. Keep it clean in the comment section. It makes it easy to moderate the channel. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. And I will see you all in the next video.